Oh boy, we are off and running, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody and everything in between. Welcome back to another little desired episode of the No One Asked for This podcast, the podcast that exactly zero people asked for. Who asked for it? Nobody! Not a single person. Um, Listen, I can't believe that there's a situation in which you all hear me talk on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube as much as you do, and you want more. Uh and please understand that I know it's ridiculous to even assume that everyone watching this or listening to this wants to hear more. Maybe this is just like a FOMO thing that like when I post these longer podcasts, people are just like, what if I don't hear him talk about nonsense for an hour that I can't get back ever? I don't know. Rania is not in LA with me, and it's really, really weird because it's the first time that I've been in her apartment in LA watching her dog, who is currently sitting over there staring at me on the couch. Boo. No, this dog hates me. I swear to God. Like, the only time that this dog likes me is when I let her lick my face. And it's like, I do that a lot, but I don't get anything back from her. I don't know. There's like a one-way relationship, and it's like kind of really toxic. I got to get out of this at some point. But Rania is in New York. She was selected to be the MC for this like huge Cypriot Greek American awards show, which is like so impressive. And I'm over here, like, I can't even touch my toes. I don't know. Every single day, I look in the mirror and I'm like, dude, you look like a make a wish kid that asked for a Greek girl and got it. I, I don't get it at all. But I applaud her for her charity to my cause. Um, so the next order of business that we need to attend to, for anyone who's like, why does this dude sound like he's underwater? It's because I feel like I'm underwater. I've been congested for almost a month. Yeah, it was like August 29th that I moved into my new apartment. I started feeling crappy. And since then, it's just been nothing but downhill. If any doctors listen to my podcast, which you don't, stop it. No, no one who did medical school listens to this. But if you recognize what I'm talking about, DM me, comment, do something because this is just getting completely out of hand. So I got like a cold. Okay, I got like this crazy cold a little while back, and it just congested me like crazy. And I had all the normal symptoms, and I thought to myself, I was like, okay, I've been sick before. Okay, I'll be sick again. You have probably 3 days where you feel really, really crappy. You get the shakes, you get the shivers. I know exactly when I'm sick. I know the moment that I'm about to start getting sick, and it's when my lymph nodes in my throat start blowing up. And let me just start by saying, I don't need any help in the neck size department because I already look like an earthworm or like a little bit of like a thumb with legs and arms. And yeah, no, I just don't need any more, size in my throat. And when my lymph nodes start blowing up, I immediately know that it's bad. But this time was very different because it came with this congestion, and like my nose was so stuffed, and it wasn't even like I had to sneeze. It was like you're not gonna breathe out of your nose. I became a mouth breather for so long, and then a couple days in, I started losing my hearing. And I thought to myself, I was like, Tyler, be realistic. Stop being a hypochondriac. Every time that you like stub your toe, you think that it's gonna like turn into some type of like toe cancer and kill you. Like that's just who I am as a person. But I started like thinking to myself, I was like, why am I losing my hearing? Like I understand congestion. I've taken every pill you can think about to try to battle the congestion, but nothing's changing. So I think nothing of it. Okay. So fast forward like 3 days after we moved into the new apartment, Rania and I went to Cyprus. Okay. And for anyone who saw the video on TikTok, we went to Cyprus to visit her family. It was something we had planned for a little while, and it was an absolutely amazing trip. Loved the trip. Could not hear a goddamn thing the entire trip. Okay. Like basically, I would say in my left ear, I was probably like 85% deaf. And in my right ear, I was probably like 70. So I have like a combined, I can't do mental math, but probably like 15% hearing in combined between my two ears. It was a nightmare. Okay. And her poor parents the whole time. Okay, wait, let me back up because I'm super ADD. So we have to fly from Boston to LA because our flight to Cyprus was from LA. Okay. On the flight to LA, I was already congested, and we kind of like guessed that the plane wasn't going to be fun. But I had bought like some decongestants and some nasal spray and all this. So we get on the plane, it goes up. I don't feel great, but I haven't felt great in a minute, so it's not like that's anything new. But then when we're landing, I get this like super intense pain in my ears. And I couldn't even start to tell you what it was. And at the time, I'm looking over at Rania. I'm like, my ears hurt. And she's like, yeah, the plane's landing. The plane, like, you're fine. The plane's landing. Which obviously, like, she's right. That was 99% of the time. That's exactly what's going on. The plane's landing. Just like figure it out. Okay, so the plane's landing, and I'm like in pain. Like I feel like an itching almost. Like my ears were like getting tickled. It was really messed up. So I'm starting to feel like this tickling in my ears. And when we land, there's like, okay, trigger warning if you're a little grossed out by like descriptions of bodily things, but like I started feeling this like liquid coming out of my ear. Okay, and my hearing is like non-existent. Okay, no hearing whatsoever. Like I feel like I have like noise canceling headphones on, and like I'm trying to talk to people and they're just like wording out, like mouthing words. So we land, and I have like this liquid in my ear, and it's itchy and it's painful, and I can't hear a thing. And Rania, the poor thing, is sitting there like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is wrong with you right now? What's happening? And so we get to LA. We're only here for like 2 days. Okay, so we land, we have one day, and then the next day we're flying again. But this isn't just across the country. This is across the country and then all the way to Cyprus, which is like basically in the Middle East. Okay, it's like 40 minutes flight away from like Israel. Okay, so it's a long flight. So the first morning we wake up and I'm like, okay, it's not better, but I'm like, I'm just gonna wait it out. I'm gonna hope for the best. I'm gonna take my decongestants like a good boy. I'm gonna shut up and deal with it like my dad taught me. So the first day goes on, and I hate it. I feel horrible. I'm still sick, but I'm mostly worried about my hearing. And the next day comes up, and I wake up, and I'm even more deaf than I was the day before. So basically, I try to pull off like American Sign Language to tell Rania, like, hey, my love, I can't hear a thing. We need to go to urgent care. Okay, so we go to urgent care, and I I get there, and I tell the woman, I tell him this whole sob story about like I was sick, and then it caused congestion, and now I can't hear. And she told me that the plane might, like the landing of the plane and the pressure of it might have severely irritated my eardrum and caused it to basically close. Okay, so like all the irritation of my eardrum and my ear canal caused it to close. That's why you can't hear. And I'm like, all right, that sucks. Like, what do I do? So she puts me on like this antibacterial whatever antibiotics and some nasal spray and whatever, or no, it was antibiotics, and she put me on like Zyrtec, so like allergy medication. So I'm like, all right, you're a licensed medical professional. I trust your judgment. So what I didn't tell her is that I'm going to be immediately that day flying to Europe. So we get on the plane again, And when we're up in the plane, we had to land in London and we had an overnight in London. I could not hear a single thing. So all you can imagine is that like this flight just completely screwed up my hearing from the start. Like it just like started from scratch and was like, all right, time to not hear anything. So I'm in London, can't hear a thing. The place is beautiful. I absolutely loved it. I gotta post that edit of our time in London. But yeah, so we get to Cyprus and we had told her parents, like, hey, by the way, Tyler, Tyler can't hear anything because God looked at him and said, time for a challenge. Um, so her parents knew, and this trip was my opportunity to meet like her whole extended family because both of her parents are from Cyprus. They're Cypriot, and she has like this whole side of her family in Cyprus that I would never have met in America. One sec, I got to take a sip of this coffee. I found a Dunkin Donuts on Van Nuys in LA, and this is like the best thing I've found so far. We'll get to LA later, but so basically her dad, the poor thing, he all he wants to do is try to help me to make me feel better because it's like he's bringing this kid to his homeland, right? Like he's bringing this random Polish kid to Cyprus to see where he grew up and meet his family and all this. Like he wants to help me here. So the poor thing's like talking to everyone that he knows, trying to like help get me like other medications and eardrops and all this, but really nothing was helping. So I spent the entire time pretty much deaf, and it didn't start really getting better until we flew back. Like we got back on the 15th of September, I believe, and it's been like 12 days since we got back, and my left ear is still like pretty deaf. I've come to realize that if I like try to clear my ears by like holding my nose and blowing out, which I learned in like scuba diving. I don't know why I'm bringing this into my everyday life now. I feel like it's like using the Pythagorean theorem now. It's just like, all right, I guess this was important. So like I'm trying to clear my ears. I did it while I was driving today, and I swear to God, it did something, but I could hear for a second, but I got so dizzy, and I'm starting to think that it's because of there's like I heard about this thing where in your ear there's like a little bit of liquid. Okay, and that little bit of liquid is to help your brain understand like where your body is and if you're right side up. That's why when you spin around a lot and then you stop spinning, your body keeps going, and that's because of the liquids that are in your ears. Because the liquid's still moving, your brain still thinks that you're moving. So my I imagine that when I blew through my ears out of my nose and I was holding my nose, my brain must have thought I was moving. So I think that it did something with the liquids that like help you with your balance and equilibrium. But let me tell you, near car crash, you almost lost fishing for clout for a hot second. But I could hear for a little bit. So I'm starting to think it has to do a little more with like some blockage in my left ear. I don't know. My right ear is like I have to snap in each ear to see like how my hearing actually is, which is so stupid. I'm a 27-year-old sitting there in the middle of the street like I look like an idiot. But no, it's like I'm this is something I'm still dealing with, and you can hear it. You can hear it in my voice. I sound like I'm still sick. And I think that is starting to have something to do with the fact that I can't hear out of my left ear. I think that the reason I don't sound like myself is because I can't hear out of my left ear. So, I don't know. Listen, I'm not one to make assumptions about things like this. I went to a doctor. I went to a pediatrician. Pedi No, I didn't go to a pediatrician. I went to a pharmacist. I've gotten I went to my primary care physician, had her look in my ears. She said everything was fine. I told her I couldn't hear. She said everything was fine. I told her why can't I hear? She said this will be $500, and I said okay. But I'm drawing a blank on this because I'd like to be able to hear at some point in the future. Like it's kind of important to what I do for a living. Um, but yeah, that's where we're at. And I don't know. I think that, Ranya's been an angel about it all. She's just been helping me with everything. And, our conversations have been basically this, where it's like, what? 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 It's just been a lot of that. It's been a lot of me saying what because I can't hear, and this poor thing just like has to repeat herself every 2 seconds. But we're coming around. We're here. Let me try to clear my ears right now. Okay, that didn't work. That didn't work. But I'll tell you what, I definitely do feel dizzy. Oh Christ. Okay. So this should be a fun podcast. Um, so I I've been in LA for a little bit now, and like Rania and I are over here, and I've noticed that people in LA are really, really funny in the way that they do things. Like I've been going to LA Fitness because I got diagnosed as like I got diagnosed with like a lot of anxiety, and they put me on Zoloft, which let me just come out here and say it. If you're feeling upset or you feel like your anxiety or your depression or whatever with your head is just like getting out of hand, go get checked out. Like honestly, therapy and psychiatry, it's like a very real thing. You got to do what you need to do. In my situation, they were like, you have so much anxiety and you have no control over your thoughts. You're like chemically imbalanced. You need to balance out the chemicals. But now the thing is, it's like my body's like, all right, well, if you're gonna be mentally healthy, we're gonna make sure that you're physically horrible. So, so I got onto Zoloft, and then my body, I swear to God, my metabolism's like, see ya, homie. Like I put on weight like it's no one's business, and I don't know if this is a thing that anyone else has experienced, but holy crap, like I've never had to work so hard to like stay in shape in my entire life. And it's like honestly, it's a little scary, but you know we're making it work. So I go to LA Fitness to try to right my ship, and I'm there, and the people in LA, they're some characters, man. There's some real mouth breathers in this gym, and so I'm sitting on one of those machines, like it's a chest machine where you sit down on it, and there's the two bars in front of you, you push them forward, and you live longer. I don't know, that's what I've come to understand about exercise, is that you do it so you live longer. And so basically the machine is right next to a bunch of other machines, and about 5 feet in front of it are a line of other machines, typical to how most gyms are set up. So um this guy decided that even though this gym is probably 20,000 square feet of space, he decided to take two dumbbells and do uh, bent over squats directly in front of my face. His ass could not have been closer to my face if he tried. Like, and I could not believe it. And he was in like those you know that guy that used to do the workout videos? What was it, Richard Simmons or something like that? He used to do like those dancing workout videos, and he was in those little tiny basketball shorts. This guy was wearing them, like full blown wearing them, and this dude's ass is like probably a foot max away from my face. Okay, which is like too close in public, and he didn't think a thing of it. So I thought to myself, I was like, I'm on pranked. Someone go get Ashton, tell him to come running out from the back because this is a prank. And this man, I've never heard grunts like this in my whole life. And this wasn't like a bro. This guy was probably like mid 50s, just like doing his best. And he's like, I swear to God, he's in front of me, bending over in front of me while I'm on this chest machine, just doing the best, going, like that. I swear to God, it could not have been more similar to that. He's scream moaning while bending over in front of my face. And I thought to myself, I was like, this guy needs to have some like inkling of self awareness to the point where he needs to understand that it's like, this isn't what people do. Okay. This isn't like any type of gym etiquette. Like, I understand the basics. Okay. You pick the friggin' dumbbells up, you use them, you wipe them down, and then you get on with your life. Okay, you wipe the things down, you don't be an ass. Okay, like that's the basics of it. You wipe down the space that you use. Other than that, I feel like it's just kind of common sense that you don't sit on someone's lap basically right in front of them when there's a whole space to do free weights. Like there's an entire area dedicated to just not squatting down in front of my nose. And this guy just like completely shameless, you know? And after a little while, I leaned over around his hips and I was like, dude, uh, why here? Why not anywhere else? Can we just like try to not do this? And the guy was like, "Oh, my bad." Oh, like, what? You didn't see me there? You didn't see the body behind you? You didn't see the fact that you're in a row of seated machines and you're just like giving me pink eye? Can you go? Oh my god. I couldn't believe it. And it's like it's not just in the gym, okay? It's not even close to just in the gym. I was in so earlier today after the gym I went to Dunk's because I found a Dunkin Donuts because it's the most Bostonian thing in me is that I will drive an extra 15, 20 minutes to find a Dunkin Donuts. But I'm in Dunkin Donuts and like I saw this kid who was like talking to this girl. I think they were like they might have been dating, I don't know. But he was vaping. He had like a some type of vape. I don't know. It wasn't like a jewel, but it was like some type of vape. And he was vaping in public inside of this Dunkin' Donuts in line. Okay, so he'd hit his vape and then he'd blow it into his jacket. And he thought he was like pulling a fast one on us so that like none of us knew. Dude, you look like you're on fire. What are you talking about? You literally are. You look like your ass is on fire. And you think you're getting away with anything? We watch this guy's like, and then he goes into his sweater. He goes, and then you would think that this dude is sitting on top of a bonfire. I just like, it's the, it's the, it's not caring. It's the idea of not caring so much. And honestly, I think I'm like more impressed by it than anything. Like I wish I cared so little about public perception that I could just like do that and it's not a big deal. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like kind of maybe I'm too insecure when it comes to stuff like that. But I don't know. And then it's like driving. Okay, driving driving in LA as somebody who's from Boston is the most aggravating thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like let me tell you basically how things go. And if you're any of my followers who are listening to this and you haven't started driving yet, I'm going to tell you some rules of the road, okay? So, let's start with some basic ones. When you're on a back road, okay, or like a side street, and the speed limit is 20 miles per hour, generally speaking, you can get away with going 25. All right. If you're going 26 up to 30, you're probably flying. You don't need to be doing that. But if the speed limit's 20, you can go between 20 and 25. You'll be fine. No cop in the world is going to pull you over for going 3 miles per hour over the speed limit. They got better things to do. If you're on a highway, it's the same type of rule, but you can go about 10 miles per hour faster. Obviously, I'm not telling anyone to go out and test what RPM they can get their Kia to, but the fact of the matter is, if the speed limit is 65, you can get away with going about 75. This is how we keep the world going and we don't get everyone to work late, okay? No cop is going to pull you over on a highway for going 9 miles per hour over the speed limit. None of them, they got better things to do. If you're going 20 over, yes, you're going to get pulled over. You want to keep the movement of traffic. But here's one thing I noticed about LA. They don't follow the rule when it comes to turning. Okay, so let's say that we're at a four-way intersection at a red light and we're in the left lane, meaning we're gonna cut over and take a left onto that next side road. Basically, what'll happen is you'll get a green light, the people on the other side facing you will get a green light, we'll start moving at the same time. Now, let me give you a quick quiz. Should you A, sit there and wait for 500 cars to go by and fully miss the green light and not take your turn? Or B, slowly, thoughtfully, demurely get the nose of your car out there a little bit to show that you're going to try to go to the left and let people know that this is your intention, and then slowly and surely keep moving your way in there until somebody realizes and lets you go, and then maybe go after like the 20th car. I'll give you a hint. It's B, okay? You don't just sit there and wait for the world to change. We're not in a John Mayer video. Hit the goddamn gas, okay? But here's the thing. When you're in that situation, the people coming at you have the right of way, 100%. However, that does not mean that you need to wait for a goddamn written invitation to take a left turn, okay? Go forward a little bit, a little tiny bit. You don't have to hit a car, but let them know that that's what you're intending to do, or else you're going to get walked all over. This is honestly a societal trend right now where it's like you need to make it clear that you're going to go at some point soon and one of you is going to let me, okay? I don't have time. There's 50 people in this line. If we each wait, that's 50 lights. The lights in LA take like 10 minutes to change. We don't have time. Stop pretending that we have time. Oh my God, I get myself into this. Jesus. This is why Rania needs to not be an MC for an event, because I need her here to just like look at me and be like, "What are you doing?" Um, Listen, I have a lot that I'm working on right now, and I am so freaking excited to show you guys what I made. And what that is merchandise. So now the people who follow the Instagram, they saw a story of that I posted that had like a sleeve with the Fishing for Clout logo on it. I am in the process of developing. I think we're going to start with 3 products, but there's going to be much more than 3 products, and it's going to be Fishing for Clout merch, and the whole goal of it is like hoodies and sweaters and mugs and stuff like that, but it's going to be focused on like comic stuff. It's going to be like funny shirts, funny mugs, funny hoodies. I think you're going to absolutely love them. So if you're watching this, you're the first people to hear about like the sort of release date, but between you and me, this is a secret between you and I. If you've watched this far, you deserve this. Basically, what's going to happen is the merch is going to be available on the TikTok shop. Okay. So you're going to be able to order it. I only ordered like 10 pieces of each merchandise piece. Okay. So there's going to be about, I think, like 10 mugs. There's only going to be about 10 hoodies. There's going to be 10 crew necks. Meaning, if you're hearing this right now, you're going to be the first people to know. But once it's gone, it's gone, and it's probably going to take a minute for us to like re-up another order and all this. But the merch is absolutely sick. If you want to like pre-order or stuff like that, DM me on Instagram. The Instagram's Tyler Jakowski Official. DM me, let me know if you want to like do a pre-order on that, or even if you DM me, I can like hold one aside. I'll figure it out, okay? But the merch is sick. I think you guys are going to love it. It's hilarious. And especially if there's someone in your life who is a teacher, or you're a teacher, or you have a teacher who you think would like this. It's just fun. It's mellow stuff. I think you're going to really really like it. And also, I would say it's pretty fashionable. I don't know anything about fashion, but they're good looking pieces of merchandise. But I as you can tell, I have so much that I can complain about, but I can't complain about that because that's fantastic, and I really really can't wait to show you guys them. So if you're interested in seeing what they look like, shoot me a DM. I'll let you know about all that. I have some other stuff that's in the works that I can't tell you guys about right now, but next time I do one of these, I need to do these more often because then I can just like, rant about all the stuff that pisses me off every now and again. But I love you all so much. Thank you guys for listening. I can't believe you just listened to what, 30-ish minutes of me just talking. But I'll be back on sometime soon. I will see you very, very soon. Thank you for tuning in to the podcast that no one asked for. Please subscribe. The subscriptions are huge. I really appreciate you all. And most of you who follow me know that once we hit 100,000, I have a bet with my student that I am not super excited about, but she is, and everyone else is. So I'll be having to show you something when that happens. But I love you. Be good to each other. I'll see you next time. Peace.